who's in the rumor mill right now in terms of the Ranger world. And I know people are not going to want to hear us talk about him because they're probably sick of it, but we have to until he signs with either the Rangers or another team. But before we jump into everything, leave a like on the stream if you enjoy, subscribe if you guys are new. Also, at the start, got to give a congratulations to Nick on his engagement on MSG Ice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shout out
Thank you.
to Johnny Lazarus for getting us down on the ice, because at first, Nick texts me. He's like, so where's a good spot outside of the garden to propose? And I'm like, I don't know if
maybe
that
not
exists.
outside.
I'm like, maybe we should just find a spot inside. And I'm like, maybe we could go down to some of the seats, like the lower bowl seats, or maybe we could go somewhere else in the building, just anywhere but outside the building. And then I was like, maybe we could get on the ice somehow. Maybe. And we start hitting people up, and Johnny Lazarus ends up being the one to get us down on the ice. So shout out to him.
That guy is. I owe that man the absolute world.
Yeah, you do. And he already returned the favor to Joey by being on his podcast. He's got he was just doing you another favor there, but yeah. So huge congratulations there. But we're going to talk about the Rangers, who, when was the last time we even talked on this podcast? Like, when was the last game? It was after the Canadian road trip, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I was there for it either.
Yeah, it was after the Winnipeg game.
Yeah, so after the Winnipeg game, so they played against Carolina, they played against Minnesota twice, and then they played the Detroit Red Wings. So you had a lot of good to talk about in this, but there's definitely things that need to be cleaned up from this team. If we're just going to quickly go off the rip with some of the good, the goaltending has been really good lately. Louis Domingue stepped up very big in yesterday's game against the Wild, making, 25 saves on the night. So Louis Domingue, he stepped up big. Jonathan Quick has been really good, and Igor Shesterkin is banged up, but he did come up big in that game against Carolina when he did play. But all three goaltenders have been coming up huge, and I expect Louis Domingue to get the start on Sunday against Columbus, if I had to take a guess. But that's definitely the good off the rip. The team defense has still been pretty solid. It definitely got spotty at times, but it's been good for the most part. I think the biggest positive, too, in all this is the 5v5 offense. We're starting to see it come alive. The past 3 games in particular, the Rangers got, I think, all 5v5 goals, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 1 power play goal against Detroit. And then they had 2 even strength goals against the Wild last night. So the Rangers are starting to produce 5v5 again, which is huge. It's just now a matter of them finding a way to put it together for full 2, if not close to a full 60, because last night we saw them slip in the second period and things got a little bit shaky. Against Detroit, they slipped in the third period. Things got shaky. They dominated the first period in Minnesota. Things got shaky after that. I think, if I remember correctly, they played pretty good in the first period against Carolina. Things then got shaky, but for the most part, the defense has held its own. For the most part, they've been good, and Laviolette deserves a lot of credit for last night. He really found a way for this team to respond when that was a horrible second period, and I thought for sure they were dead in the water, but last year's team, they do not win that game last night. Last year's team doesn't win that game last night. It's not even close. So do you guys want to jump in with your thoughts on this recent stretch of games?
Go ahead, Matt. You go first.
No, the whole season in general has been really good so far. And, especially since, the injuries happened, with Fox going down, Hedl going down, Igor going down. The team's really stepped up as a whole, just be able to, make up for that huge loss. And listen, it's like I said, all teams face adversity, and the good teams overcome that adversity. And so far, this team is doing exactly that. And you're seeing the structure that Laviolette has implemented. It's paying off right now, and this team so far does look good, even though there are still problems so far.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I don't want to dog on the team at all because I mean it's kind of hard to complain right now. If you're not watching the games and just looking from the outside, the team's been this is a turnaround from last season. Last season, it was when we started we were terrible. It was actually hard to watch the Rangers at the
Oh
start
yeah,
of last season.
November, December was
Oh my
brutal.
god, it was absolutely terrible. Now we're talking about the Rangers that are tied for third in the NHL. Everything looks better. 5v5 looks better. Special teams looks better. The effort from the players looks better. The chemistry looks better. I think a lot of credit, obviously, is due to Laviolette and his coaching staff. The biggest thing for me, I could really appreciate with Laviolette is he has not been afraid to take chances with the making of the lines on offense. I think we all pretty much agreed, at least on this podcast, that we didn't want Trocheck and Panarin back together this year, especially after last year and not in the playoffs. And here we are with Trocheck back with Panarin, laughs on the wing, and they're pretty much buzzing right now. I know Nico's not a big Trocheck guy, but Trocheck has been absolutely awesome. I think Trocheck. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's Laviolette's coaching. Maybe it's the systems in place. I have no idea. But Trocheck, for me, has taken another step. And I am so happy with where this team is at right now compared to where we were a year ago. And going into this season, I had zero confidence in this team whatsoever. And right now, the way we play in, night out, a third string goalie in net, and we freaking win a hockey game. I mean, last year it was if Cjethsyt's not in, it's a 95% chance we're losing the game. We had Louis Domingue in the net last night, and there was not a single point at all leading up to the game or while the game was on that I felt like we were going to get smoked or lose. Didn't even feel it. I actually believed in the team that much. That was like Mackenzie Skapsky NHL debut levels of confidence in the team, and I have not had that in a very long time.
Just to back you up on that Trocheck point, Nick. Listen, we were all happy when at the start of the season when Trocheck was finally put on that 3C role because we were
Mhm.
all like, that's his role. That's where he's going to
Yep.
fit the best. And we were saying that's going to fit him like a glove. And to be fair, start of the season, he was playing really well in that 3C role with Cooley
Mhm.
and Wheeler on that line. Two-way plays, winning face-offs, making play along the boards, breaking up play in neutral zone. But Hito went down, and he had to step up to that 2C role.
Yep.
Not only has he stepped up, he's exceeded our expectations.
I
In the
think
three
so.
games he's playing that 2C role, which were the two Wild games and the Detroit games, he has 6 points in 3 games.
That's insane.
Not only is he doing the same things that he was doing on the third line, he's scoring goals, he's creating chances, he's getting a couple of nice assists, and
Yep.
he's cutting back on the penalties as well. That's
Yep.
another big thing from him. And listen, I'm not surprised because when Trocheck signed from Carolina, we were all expecting that player, and like we said before, he looked like Carolina. He looked like I said at the beginning of the season, he looked like Carolina Trocheck, and
Yes.
now he's starting to look like that same guy. Why? Because in Carolina, he was under Rod, where there was a system, and now under
Mhm.
Lavi, there's a system in place. And it's wow, what a concept that a system actually brings out the best in players.
Yeah, it's crazy a concept like that would actually work, and it's crazy how I'm the one that's called negative in the fan base. Meanwhile, I was the one beating the drum that Laviolette was going to change the culture and this team
Mhm.
was going to be different this year. And sure enough, they are. And Vinny Trocheck has really stepped up, especially when Mika Zibanejad has not been good enough at all. I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat it. I'm sorry, people are going to say this is where people get mad at me because I complain about Mika Zibanejad. He hasn't been good. I don't think anyone could deny it. His two goals aren't even really the typical Zibanejad one-timer goals on the power play, so it's not
Mhm.
like there's really much to take as a positive right now out of his game. And him and Kreider have just not been good enough at 5v5. And Trocheck has stepped up while he has not been performing and while Filipino is out. So huge credit to Vinny Trocheck for stepping up there. And it's just, you got to wonder and you got to think, like, what could happen if this team gets Mika Zibanejad going 5v5, gets Chris Kreider going 5v5. And it's just scary to me how they were both so invisible last night
Yeah.
because the Rangers had one power play and that the first unit didn't even do good on that power play. So they weren't the ones to score. It was the second unit. So it's very concerning. I said it on Twitter. I think that the solution has to be you got to split them up. I don't know what line combinations you could go with, but those two have to be split up. I said it going into the year as well that I wanted them split up. There's a reason why I was beating the drum to have Lafreniere with Zibanejad and Kako on that line. And then I was saying to put Panarin with Hedel and I forgot who I was saying to throw on the right, whether it was Wheeler or whoever else. But then the third line, I wanted it to be Kreider and Trocheck together because we saw how good that line was, especially when Patrick Kane came in, and that line combination worked very well. They
crazy.
were one of the, and for everyone that dogs on Patrick Kane's defense, that line was the second best in expected goals against per 60 when Patrick Kane was on that line, behind the fourth line with Tyler Mott, Barclay Goodrow, and Jimmy Vesey last year. So that line, and they were doing well at offense. So that would be, it would be great if they could rekindle that line if Patrick Kane does come back. But I'm not too sure who Mika plays with that at that point. It's tough to balance and figure out because what are you going to do? Like tell Mika, yeah, you're getting third line center minutes. Like, I don't know how you go about that. Yeah, you simply can't. But he will get his minutes on the power play. He will on the PK, but they need to find a way to get him going. They need to find a way to get Chris Kreider going. And if they could do that, that's going to go a long way because that's my biggest concern, because if those two aren't going and there's nights where the second line's not producing, where's the depth scoring going to come from? Because you can't just get it all on the power play. You need some depth scoring 5v5. And if Mika and Kreider are not going to give you some of that scoring, you're sure as hell not getting it from the fourth line.
No.
The third line maybe will chip in offensively every now and then. But
when Hedel comes back, I think the third line's going to be fine. Because then him and Trocheck will be bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, 1,000%. Will Coley looks like the truth right now. So
Bro,
that third line should get going. And then maybe Kako could get going too on that third line, but they really, really need to find a way to get that first line. They need to get them going.
It's my big thing with the first line right now is I hate to say this because I really was a big Kako believer going into the season. I don't think I think he's slowing down that line. I think Wheeler was slowing down that line. I can't believe we have to go to this again, but I think a Frank Vetrano type player was perfect for that line because he's how hard and how fast he skated, because he shot the puck a lot, because he got in the dirty areas, won the battles quickly. Like, I love Capo Kako. He does not lose very many puck battles, but as he's winning them pretty slow. He's mucking on the boards. He's controlling the puck, and it's slowing it down, and that's good. That's great. It works, but I don't really think it's working well with Kreider and Zibanejad. And I still think the best Mika Zibanejad that we saw was the Mika Zibanejad when Panarin first joined the Rangers, and our top line was Book, Zibanejad, Panarin. And I think if you can find a skill guy that maybe moves a little bit quicker or a lot a bit quicker, I think that line could get going again. If you want to take Kreider off that line and do Mika Kreider, and I don't know who you throw on the other side instead of Kreider on this team right now. I don't think you go the VC route, but I think if you have somebody quick, you put somebody fast on that line and just see how it works. But I'm also, too, do you want to risk playing around with the chemistry of other lines as they stand right now just to get Mika and Kreider going when they're probably both good enough to eventually start getting bounces going their way?
I actually do have a trade idea, and the guy similar to Vetrano, where he brings those same attributes as in speed and shooting off the rush, and it would take Kako going the other way. But if you could trade Kako to San Jose for Anthony Duclair, a 1v1, I know his production really hasn't been great, but once again in San Jose, no one's really been great. I think if you could get Duclair, and they're contracts are very similar. Kako I think is on 2.1 right now. Duclair's on 3 million. So that's a trade I could possibly, think the Rangers might look at.
You have to get a lot more back than Duclair, though. If you, because I think Duclair you could probably almost get for free at this point in time. I mean that's pretty much what San Jose got him for. Right?
I was also kind of thinking you could move it's Kako for Duclair, but also in that same trade, since the Sharks are going to be bad for a while, you could possibly entice him to taking Goodrow's contract on, and you throw in like a prospect or pick with him. That was just my idea. I don't know.
I mean,
what you guys think.
the problem is you have to imagine Goudreau has San Jose on his no trade list because of the
Yeah,
fact
you
that
have to hope.
they're not good. So uh that's the problem with that. But it's not an awful idea. I just don't know if like the thing is I don't think the Rangers are gonna move Kako until the deadline. Like I think they're gonna really try to hold this out and see if he could he could get going in any way possible. But yeah, I would be on board with it. Like it's just infuriating that sorry, currently dying. I'm still sick right now, but I would not be opposed to them trying something like that. It's just infuriating though because they've sacrificed right wing depth now 3 years in a row to try to accommodate Kako, and that's what's really frustrating to me. I brought it up. They moved Buchnevich out. They let Vetrano walk. They let Tarasenko walk. So that's the issue. But I wouldn't rule out Kako being moved this year. I think it's possible that Kako gets moved this year at the deadline if he's not performing well enough because that's really their only way of getting any cap space so they could be Jack Harlow and have options because you're not going to be able to move Barkley Goudreau. You're not moving Lindgren. You're not moving Lafreniere, especially if he keeps playing like this. You're not moving him. Where does the cap come from it's it's not Kako?
I don't really see another option. I hate to say it. But then again, the season is still young. A lot of things can still go right or wrong. Who knows? Maybe Kako will turn on. Maybe something will work out. The same thing. Like I was actually taking a look at this. I mean, Kako's only got 2 points thus far. He's getting 15 minutes, 11 seconds of ice a game. So he's getting the ice, but he's only got 16 shots. His 16 shots are, hold on 1 second, 10th on the entire team. He's not shooting the puck. I think he's focusing too much on making plays down low, and this is the problem when you put him on a line with Mika and Kreider is they're looking at him as the third option on that line. Where I think Kakko is a guy, and we saw it when we first drafted him when he was on Finland, absolutely going off. He was the guy. And I don't know if there's a line you can make right now where he is the guy. Maybe a Kreider, Trocheck, Kakko line. I don't know.
I mean, he should be the guy right now with Nick Bonino and Will Coley, but like,
trust me,
the issue
I know.
is he's playing way too. It's not even him needing like he needs to just find his game in general. He's just a passenger right now. Like and that first line needs a play driver, and it's been the issue since, like we said, Pavel Buchnevich was moved. It's been an issue since then. They got Vetrano, it worked. Tarasenko didn't fit great with Kreider and Zibanejad, but I think it's a mix of both too. Like I just simply think that the way that Kreider and Zibanejad are playing is it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough, and you need to see a lot more from those two. I'm getting really infuriated. Like Chris Kreider, in particular, there's some nights where he is like throwing bod and he's all in on the forecheck, and then you have some nights where he's just invisible and he's losing every single board battle he's in. Like the inconsistency is way too much.
You're right, and to build off your point too. I mean, when you're just looking at 5v5, Kaapo Kakko is 1 point behind Zibanejad and 2 points behind Kreider 5v5. So 5v5, it's just I don't think it's as much Kakko's fault as it is Mika and Kreider's fault and their inability to produce 5v5 thus far this season. I don't know what it is with Mika, to tell you the truth. I don't want to say he's not trying as hard. I don't want to say he's not doing this, that, the other thing. It's just he looks maybe a step slower, a step behind. Maybe he was fighting something in the preseason or in the offseason, didn't fully heal or something like that. He just doesn't look like the high-flying, I want to score every time I touch the puck Mika. He almost looks like he's trying to take a step back and almost play that passenger role too.
Now look, him and Kreider, $15 million combined in cap space, and they have 3 5v5 goals between them. It's like I said before on Evan's post game yesterday. We're 13 games into the season. Mika Zibanejad has currently 0 5v5 goals. That's almost 2 full 7-game playoff series. I don't want to hear it's a small sample size. I don't want to hear that excuse. Elite number one centers in this league don't do that.
No, you're right. He's just been 5v5. It's just been terrible. It's been really bad. I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean the only 5v5 contributors have been Panarin, Lafreniere, Gustafson, Miller, and Trocheck, all with over 6 points. Everyone else is less than that. Even Jacob Trouba. This is tough. This is hard to look at. Jacob Trouba is outscoring Kreider and Mika 5v5.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Will Cooley is tied with Kreider and ahead of Mika. I mean, Braden Schneider is tied with Mika 5v5. BC's tied with Mika 5v5. We need more 5v5 contributions from that line. And maybe it takes moving Kakko or Kreider off of Zibanejad's line and putting someone else there. I actually would be curious to get a look at maybe Cooley, Mika, and Kakko.
I was just going to say that.
Dude, that could be interesting. And you know what, too? I see a lot of, minus the speed, because when Kreider first came into the league, he was very, very quick. He slowed down over the years. But I see a lot of Chris Kreider in Will Cooley when he first came up. I mean, when Kreider first came in, that series against Ottawa, he hit everything that moved. People were bouncing off of them. He was looking for reasons to hit people. Cooley is looking for reasons to hit people at every juncture. He's making plays with his hands. He's making plays with his feet. He's making plays with everything. And I love the way Cooley's playing. And you know what? Why not give him more ice? Why not give him a shot and see what happens? And again, it doesn't have to be a forever thing. We're only, how many games are we in? 13 games in? Something like that?
Yeah, 13.
We're 13 games in. What's the worst that happens? It doesn't work out, and you have another 60-plus games to put Kreider and Mika back together and see if they could rekindle what flame is left.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I'm trying to get the stat up quickly because this is even more concerning now that I'm looking at it. So, and you guys are right in chat. Maybe it's something that he's dealing with because we know that Mika was injured in training camp, but this is bad if this is true. Okay, so since March 30th, Mika has, let's say, he has one even strength goal.
Wow.
And that was game 6 against New Jersey in the playoffs.
Jesus Christ.
How
many games played? How many games played?
That would be the 13 now, and then 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then we go to the regular season, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So in 28 games, he has one even strength goal.
That hurts. That hurts a lot.
I even have numbers from 5v5 last year, and I looked at 12 other number one centers, and once again, it's going to show you Mika just at 5v5, his offense not there. Last year during the season, Mika had 39 goals, 18 were at 5v5. Pedersen, 39 goals, 25 at 5v5. Eichel, 27 goals, 24 at 5v5. McDavid, 64, 37 at 5v5. McKinnon, 42, 28 at 5v5. Matthews, 40, 27 at 5v5. Hughes, 43, 33 at 5v5. Rupe Hintz, 37, 27 at 5v5. Tage Thompson, 47, 25 at 5v5. Kopitar, 28, 21 at 5v5. Braden Point, 51 goals, 30 at 5v5. Crosby, 33 goals, 23 at 5v5. And Stützle, 39 goals, 25 at 5v5.
And didn't Mika have the same amount even strength goals as Boone Jenner last season?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Let's shit on Boone Jenner. Boone Jenner is
at
good.
17. No, Boone Jenner's good.
I've wanted him forever.
It is. It's just infuriating. But
I agree.
Listen, I know that.
Catch me disagreeing.
I know people are gonna say, "Well, goals are goals. You can't just knock him for not producing 5v5. He's the number one center. He's got to be. Yeah, he's got to at least be productive. Like,
yeah."
I would say that I would go as far as to say is we need that more than anything. Like, I think that it's very important that he's scoring 5v5. So,
oh my gosh.
But, again, I don't know what to do to get him going. And listen, if he heats up down the stretch, all is forgiven. I'd rather, if anything, this is when he's gonna slump. And it means he gets hot down the stretch, I will take that, honestly, because the team is still winning games right now with him in a slump. Mm-hmm. And if he heats up later on and has Mika march and rolls into the playoffs with it, I'll take it. But we need him to start producing. This kind of reminds me of, remember that 2021 bubble season where he just couldn't buy a goal. Like, he had one goal early in the season, and then he couldn't buy a goal for like 10, 15 games. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He scored the third game against New Jersey, and then it took him. That game was January 16th January 19th versus New Jersey, and his next goal wasn't until February 20th versus Washington. Then from February 20th, he didn't score again until March 7th against Pittsburgh in that season.
Jesus.
But then he started to heat up. He's then had
Mika March.
his usual Mika March where his usual ownership of the Philadelphia Flyers where
Yep.
he potted hat tricks against them and he was on a roll. But we need him to start producing. It's just that simple
Mhm.
because like I said, there's going to be nights where that second line doesn't score and you're in trouble if the rest of the lines don't provide scoring depth. You got to hope that you could get a lot of penalties drawn at the very least then. But Julian Gauthier is not here and Tyler Mott's not, so good luck with that. Nor is Josh Archibald. So you're gonna run into some trouble there.
Archibald.
Or Michael Bunting.
Oh no, you dirty fucks. How dare you?
But yeah, if we're gonna nitpick, that's where we can. But I mean, it like you said, it's really hard to complain right now when the team is playing the way it is, especially defensively. Like the team defense, it's nice seeing the defensive stats this year, and it's not just Igor masking the defensive stats. Like this team's actually playing good defense.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I wanted to point out, because this is what I talked about in my post game yesterday, that I think was very important, and it goes with the coaching. That adjustment that the Rangers made after the second period. In the first period, they allowed at 5v5 one high danger chance. In the second period, they allowed 4 high danger chances 5v5. Then they turn it around and respond in the third, allowing just 1 to finish with 6 high danger chances against at 5v5. That is definitely a huge step and great adjustment from Laviolette to keep them playing good defense there.
100%. 100%.
It would just, again, it's just going to be about finding a way to get the offense and defense gelling on a night-to-night basis, because there are some nights where they look dominant defensively, but they're not doing enough offensively. And then there are nights where they are looking so dominant offensively, but then they get a little lazy in their own end. But it's just about gelling it. And a game like last night, that's where you saw them put it together. And I think they're going to start doing it. Like the past 2 games really showed me this team's going to start to get going, and they're going to start finding a way to gel the offense and the defense together.
But that's why we've been, complaining and pointing out these little things. It's because this team,
we know they're capable of it.
Yeah, and not only that, but this team, it's a good team and it's going through a lot of adversity right now. It's lost Igor, Fox, Hedel. It's playing with a third D pairing that can't play defense in their own zone. We have an ineffective first line right now, an inconsistent fourth line, and this team is 10-2-1. So even if they figure out these little problems, you add a Kane, you improve the fourth line, the first line gets going, this team is a genuine cup contender.
Yeah. Actually, just to go off of just another little small stat just about the team. The Rangers are tied 17th in the league for penalties drawn, and we've taken 1 more penalty than we've drawn. So if we could, I get, like we say, with like Mott and Gauthier obviously aren't here to help with that. But if we could find ways to draw more penalties and get our power play on the ice with the way our power play has been playing, we'll be pretty damn comfortable, because the Rangers power play right now is shooting at 35.7%. Only 1 team in the league is better. That's the Devils, that are shooting at 41.7, which, by the way, Jesus Christ, that's pretty ridiculous number for a power play. But yeah, 35.7%. The Rangers are ahead of the entire league except for the New Jersey Devils. Our penalty kill at 86.4 is tied for 7th. And just, this is actually kind of surprising. I just wanted to take a look at this. The Rangers are only 15th in the league in goals for per game played, which is pretty low. I feel like for the team, every team that's tied for 4th in the entire NHL. But then on the flip side, our goals against per game were 3rd with 2.08, just behind the Bruins and the Canucks.
We're also top 5 in faceoff percentage, which is like incredible for a Rangers team.
Minimum 150 faceoffs taken. Trocheck is 3rd in the NHL. And
This is-
Benino, I'm not sure where Benino was, but he's probably top 10 as well, I'm sure.
This
We are
is
second.
interesting. Now that you bring up them needing to find a way to start drawing more penalties, did you look at
Stop playing
the
hard.
individual players?
I
but-
could pull up the
I
individual
have it up. I
players.
have it up. Don't pull it up because I was gonna ask, who do you think leads? Do we want to look at net pen?
Look at the net.
penalties?
Look at the net. Look
Okay,
at the
because I was
I
gonna say,
always
who do you
the net.
think? Who do you think has the most penalties drawn per 60 on this team? Not net penalties, just penalties drawn.
I won't comment because I've had the list up for a while.
I'll go Panarin.
No.
Somehow it's
no,
Barkley
no.
Goudreau.
It's
It's
Goudreau.
Barkley Goudreau, yeah.
But
he's
net
also
pen,
drawn the
who
same
do we
night he's
think
taken.
leads it?
I already know it. I'm not gonna say.
Oh, you have it pulled up.
Yeah, I've had
I
it
don't
for a
know.
while.
Just tell me.
It's Ryan Lindgren. The thing is, Kako's
0.75 too, which is pretty above average.
like one of those guys you would expect to draw penalties. That's what's infuriating with how much he possesses
Yeah.
the puck and
He really
holds
had,
onto it. If he could start drawing penalties, that would at least, be one of those things where it's like, all right, at least he's doing that.
right.
Granted, you'd want more from a second overall pick, but at least he's doing that.
Well, and it shows that other teams are struggling to defend against you. If you're drawing penalties aren't drawn most of the time by accident. It's drawn by hard play and making the other team make mistakes and putting them in a position where they have to take a penalty, i.e. a hooking. Like when you're working the puck down low, like Kakko's so good at doing, you draw a hooking penalty or you draw a high sticking penalty or you're driving the net, you get taken down, you draw a trip and stuff like that. We really just have not seen a lot of that out of the Rangers this year. And a lot of the penalties that are being drawn by the Rangers are like stupid things. The puck gets flipped over the boards or something else. I really don't. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of that penalty was drawn from hard work. It's just penalties that just happen naturally throughout a hockey game.
Yeah, and that's where I know people think that it's stupid how much I like Tyler Mott, but you miss him for situations like this.
Yeah.
I
Drew a
turn
lot
on
of penalties, dude. Drew a lot.
Yeah, I turn on the Tampa Toronto game the other night and I just watch him draw a penalty. He takes 4 guys into the boards along a board battle, ends up holding the puck and winning the board battle, draws a penalty, and Tampa Bay scores on it.
Yep.
People don't acknowledge it, but guys like that do help out. You need guys
Huge
that
part of the
work
game.
like that.
It is a
Yeah.
huge part of the game. Actually, let's kind of curious. I'm gonna pull up
An
Julian
underrated
Gauthier
part of the
first.
game.
Julian Gauthier. Hold on. I'm looking at the wrong stat. I want to see how many penalties he's drawn. Oh, he's only played 1 game for the Islanders?
Yeah, the Islanders, they'd rather play Matt Martin over Julian Gauthier for some reason.
Oh, wow. I was actually pulling him up, thinking I was doing something because I was just more curious than anything. Not that I was being an advocate that he should have stayed. I was just more curious.
But yeah,
But
regardless, though, it's still just you need somebody that could do something like that.
Get you on the power play. Put you on advantage.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what a guy. I want to know what Barkley Goudreau's net penalties was when he was in Tampa, because I feel like he was a
Probably
guy
not
that
great.
used to at least draw more penalties. I could be wrong.
His net penalties, I doubt, will be good. His penalties drawn total will probably be great, but his net penalties are going to be pretty low, I bet.
That's true, yeah, because of how many friggin' penalties he takes. But
I do want to touch on a pretty underrated stat right now that I think we should give a little bit more attention. Is Lafreniere's first 3 seasons in the NHL, one of the few praises whenever I'd make my videos, like how is Laf doing or how are certain individual players doing, and you know how I love looking at these small stats, was Lafreniere's takeaways per 60 were always very high. And last season, they were pretty low. As a matter of fact, I think his giveaways per 60 were significantly higher than his takeaways. This year, Lafreniere's takeaways per 60 is leading the Rangers. Excuse me. He's at 2.31 takeaways per 60. That 2.31 takeaways per 60 has him in, let's see, tied for 74th in the NHL, which, doesn't sound sexy. But when you put it against the fact that he has 0.57 giveaways per 60, which is one of the best on the Rangers, it is the 10th best on the entire Rangers team. If you do minimum 8 games played, which I think is a pretty fair marker, it puts him at 8th on the entire team in giveaways per 60, which is and you got to be happy with that with a guy that's scoring at the rate he is. But 2.31 takeaways per 60. Just behind him is Vinny Trocheck with 1.9, Miller with 1.87. Surprisingly, Barkley Gaudreau at 1.31, Kako 1.21, Zibanejad 1.18, and then Jones, Benino, and the rest. It's nothing too impressive. The giveaways per 60 are a little frustrating. Kreider leads the team in giveaways per 60, 1.74. Panarin 1.71, just behind him. After that is Zibanejad 1.65.
Yeah, I'm the thing that I'm most curious about with Lafreniere right now, because he's off to a scorching hot start, obviously.
Yeah.
I want to see how he does when Panarin inevitably cools off, because let's be honest, there is not a chicken shit's chance that Panarin is going to be at this scorching hot rate all season long. There's just not a chance. If Lafreniere could find a way to still produce and be that guy while Panarin's struggling, that tells me that this kid has arrived. And
Absolutely.
don't get me wrong, I'm very high on Lafreniere right now. I think that he is proving me the fuck wrong right now, and I couldn't be any more happy.
I'm so glad.
I couldn't be any more thankful. I was ready to move the guy after the playoffs and the preseason, but yeah, I'm very happy with what we've seen. But I want him to keep this up. But at some point, if he keeps this up, if him and Panarin keep this up in particular, you could throw those two highlight compilations up. You could throw highlight compilations up of those two, and I might think that's Kobe and Shaq playing hockey out there, because those two look so good right now.
They've been excellent. They've been absolutely excellent.
And another thing is they're playing well with two different centers. They've looked good with Edel and they've looked good with Trocheck.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But two things I really like in Lafreniere's game so far this year is, one is forechecking. He actually looks like he's putting in the effort. He's involved in the play. And another thing is, when he was drafted, we were all very happy because he came out of the draft as a playmaker. Now we're starting to finally see those playmaking abilities coming. He's starting to set up guys. He's up to 4 assists already. So, and he's got 5 goals, 4 assists so far, 9 points in 13 games. So great start from him this season.
A big part of that is because Panarin's actually shooting the puck now. Like, both those guys look so much more confident. And I think that coaching has to do with this too. We know Laviolette had discussions, one-on-one discussions with those guys. We saw video clips of it in training camp, and I wonder if he was just saying, "Shoot the fucking puck."
Yeah, like come on, get off your damn stick.
You have one of the best shots in the game. Just shoot the puck. Just shoot it. And we're starting to see it. I would love to see Lafreniere start shooting the puck at will too. Like, I think he has an underrated shot, and if he starts using it, that could go a long way. And I think that will come with the confidence building. But yeah, it's nice to see Lafreniere thrive right now. If he could play like a number 1 overall pick, or at least get close to that, we could be looking at a new dynamic duo here with the New York Rangers, something that we haven't seen in forever, honestly. Like, when's the last time we've seen a duo potentially that could be this good for the Rangers? I can't remember, but those two could be the guys.
Brian Boyle and Brandon Proust.
I would say they're up there, but I'm more of the Rafael Diaz, Chris Summers type. But
you know who you're really sleeping on is Alesh Kotelik and Ole Jokinen. That's before y'all's time.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, though.
Do you guys want to hear some other fun stats? Just
yeah, why not?
Just fuck it, right? We're here. I want you to guess which Rangers player is 14th in the NHL in hits per 60.
It is K'Andre Miller.
What do you got, Matt?
I was gonna go Miller too.
Will Cooley.
That makes sense too.
And he leads the Rangers in hits per 60. Second on the Rangers is Gaudreau at 9.22. Pitlick 8.93. Trouba at 6.82. And in 10th on the Rangers, K'Andre Miller at 2.08.
I feel like he's been throwing way more body than that.
I think Miller's throwing more noticeable hits.
I think that's true.
Miller's like strong as shit. And here's a stat that I actually was caught off guard by. The leader in the NHL in blocks per 60 is a Ranger. Who is it?
Benino?
Yeah, it's got to be Benino, right?
Nick Benino. 5th place, Jacob Trouba at 9.94. Nick Benino, 14.52. Hold on.
Pull it up.
25th in the league. Also a Ranger. Who is it?
In
blocking.
block shots.
And block shots per 60 minutes.
Lindgren.
Uh,
This one's going to surprise you.
is it the Gus bus?
No.
Ooh.
Braden Schneider. 7.24. Third
That
on the
does
Rangers.
surprise me.
25th in the league. And block shot totals, though, with 48 block shots to this point. Leading the NHL is Jacob Trouba.
That's unreal. Jacob Trouba is another one shutting me up right now. He'll never be the
He's doing
$8 million guy, but
No.
if his cap hit was $5 million right now, I think he would be one of the favorites amongst the fan base right now. Like he's
Absolutely.
playing
He's
like a
stepped
guy.
up. He's been.
Yeah,
He's
he
been,
looks so good right now.
he's a great leader. Oh, sorry, Matt. He's just been a great leader. I mean, obviously last year the helmet throw, excellent leader. He's playing with the puck better. He doesn't look nearly as slow as he used to be. Remember, like the big issue was when he first got here, he was so slow he couldn't turn, he couldn't do shit. He's moving the puck well, he's skating well, he's playing hard, he's blowing people up. He's just doing everything right. He's actually a quality NHL defenseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two as a pair, Keandre and Trouba, have been incredible.
Yep.
And backing up on your point, Nick, why he doesn't look that slow anymore, I actually think it's because of Phil Housley and the actual defensive defensive positioning.
Excellent point.
A lot of, because if you remember, like the last couple of seasons when those two on the ice, how many times did we constantly see there was odd man rushes when those two were on the ice?
Oh my gosh.
And you haven't really seen that this year.
No.
And why? Because they're in the correct positioning.
And honestly, the way the Rangers set up when the opposing team is breaking out, I feel like under Vigneault, under Gallant, under Quinn, under all of our other coaches, it was mostly, okay, just get back as fast as you can and pick a guy. Whereas
Yeah.
there is structure in every zone, in every play, in every scenario. There is visible structure in place. What the guys are pointing out who to take, when to take them, and they're going to them. And there's not, I don't feel like there's ever, I don't really feel like this. Obviously, it happens, but like significant stretches of just chaos where we don't know where the F anybody is, where they're going, why they're going there. It's like everyone seems to have a guy know where they're supposed to be and are always there. The neutral zone trap's been great. We're stuffing breakouts from opposing teams. We're keeping them hemmed in their zone. We're, for the most part, getting the puck out of our zone well. Obviously, there's some hiccups. I think sometimes we dick around a little bit too much, especially in front of our own net. I wish they'd do a little bit more when in doubt, boards and out, but not gonna dwell on it. It's still a long season, but I've just been happy with just all around, top to bottom, the way the Rangers have played as a team this season. It is showing.
Yeah, because sorry, just want to throw this in quickly before you go, Matt. But it's also just like they're reading the plays better too.
Yeah.
Like I want to know how Laviolette. Like I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that locker room to know like how Laviolette has them reading these plays, because they're reading these plays just so well, knowing when to jump up the rush and take chances, knowing when to back check. I love it.
Yeah, that was my point. I was about to say, I like how active our defensemen have been in terms of in the neutral zone, breaking up plays, knowing when to step up, knowing the right time when to pinch. And usually when we're pinching this year, we're winning those puck battles, and just how offensively they're active. I mean, you look at like Trouba, his 2 assists this year, the slap pass that he had to Panarin in the Winnipeg game, and the setup that he had on Cooley for the game winner against Carolina. And then same thing with Gustafsson, shooting from the point. You know, actually having a capable third pairing defenseman being able to move the puck. You know, that's just,
it's weird, isn't it? We're so used to like the Rangers' 6th defenseman being a slow moving, throws the occasional big hit, gets burned every time he's on the ice. Like it's a very nice change of pace that the Rangers decided to go back with a puck moving quick 6th defenseman, like the Jeff Boy Witkas of the world. And when the Rangers first brought Anton Stralman in, Anton Stralman was just a puck moving number 6 defenseman, and we saw how he evolved.
And
Gustafsson's been playing good defensively too.
Yeah. And it's $825K, especially when you look at I
I
said, you look at John Klingberg in Toronto, $4.15 million, and they're ready to kill him in Toronto already.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're running him out of town. Steve Dangle, he couldn't be any more pissed off that they let Gustafsson walk. I couldn't be any more happy that the Leafs let him walk, because he is definitely came in, and like it's funny to me that we even had conversation. Well, I think we were in agreement, but there were people that were asking me in the chat, They're like, yeah, do you think Gustafson's going to be the 7th defenseman? I'm like, no,
No.
he's not. This guy is
He's
going to play
legit.
every game. He's, yeah,
40-point defenseman last year. I mean, 40-point defensemen do not
More
grow. They're more
points-
common now,
more
but like
points
they don't
than
grow on trees.
Klingberg, more
Yep.
than Gostisbehere.
Yep.
I don't know how he got so underpaid, but I'll take it. And I think that him and Laviolette, there's some sort of connection there with those two.
Yes.
I could see Gustafson being willing to take an extension at a
Yes.
very affordable price. And I do want to point out too, according to the JFresh cards here, where the Rangers are defensively, where do you think they are in expected goals against ranked in the league?
Ooh. Expected goals against.
7th.
I'm gonna
Close.
go 9th.
In the middle, 8th.
8th.
They're 8th.
Wow, we just build around it.
Yeah, they're 8th right now. So they're in the top 10 with that. Their power
Wow.
play is 2nd. Their penalty kill is 8th. Their expected goals for is still very low. But
That's gonna come with 5v5 offense. So
exactly.
we're
Like
just saying
once
we don't get a
Mika
lot
and
of power
Kreider,
plays. Mhm.
yeah, once Mika and Kreider get going, like that number should really boost up because this is all 5v5 numbers. So
Right.
that should boost.
Exactly.
Or if they end up bringing back Kane or just like any other move that they might end up making. But yeah, they're ranked 5th goaltending, finishing 9th. They're a lot of blue on these charts here. A lot of blue.
We're not used to that, dude. The Rangers are always the ones that have the absolute worst advanced stats.
This is
borderline
crazy.
terrible.
Okay, sorry. I was just like scrolling through as I'm looking at it because someone just switched it up while I'm looking. Now Vancouver's is up. Holy crap with Vancouver. They're 2nd in goals for, but their expected goals for is 29th. What?
Oh my gosh.
No, they're cooking
That's
offense
gotta
in
be
Vancouver.
wrong.
That's
Bro.
crazy. Yeah, but expected goals for at 29th, but
Yeah.
2nd in goals for?
That's actually
Wow.
ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Before I hop off, I got 10 minutes before I hop off. Do you guys want to do a little Hartford Wolfpack talk?
Hartford Wolfpack talk. I mean, we could. Why not? We
The
don't do a
Hartford
lot of Hartford
Wolfpack.
talk. They're cooking.
Let's go through this. How about this? I just want to go through and I want to see if y'all can get these. Let's
Okay.
go to the top 10 scorers on the Hartford Wolfpack.
Let's do it.
All right. So number 1 on the team with 7 games played, 6 goals and 11 points. Who do you guys have?
Johnny
gotta be-
Brzezinski.
Yeah.
Johnny Broadway.
Johnny Broadway. 2nd with 10 points in 9 games. Tied for 2nd. 2
Riley Nash.
players. Nope.
Jake Lecision. Please don't tell me.
No.
Alex Belzile.
And
Let's throw Offman out there. Why not?
no.
Okay. Ooh, is it?
It's your boy.
It's
Not
my.
Lecision.
It's my boy.
You wanted him on the team with the way he played in the preseason.
Huh? Who the? Edstrom?
No, Mac Hollowell with 10 points
Oh
in 9
shit!
games.
I forgot about Mac Hollowell. Huh?
4th place, 8 points in 9 games.
That one's Offman, right?
No.
Rempe?
I'd actually be I would we could sit here for an hour. I don't think you guys would get it.
Forward or defenseman?
Forward.
A forward.
Hmm.
Not
Rempe.
often. Who?
Rempe.
Nope.
Trevino.
Nope.
Bleed.
Got it. Nope.
Carl Henriksen?
Korzak.
Nope.
Riley Nash.
Nope.
Turner Elson.
Nope.
Who the fuck could this be? Don't
Tell
say
me when
who.
you want it.
Carl Henriksen.
Nope.
Finally doing it.
No, he has 0 points in 5 games.
Yeah, of course he does. He can't fool me. I'm familiar with this game.
You guys are gonna hate it when I say who it is.
That's got to be. Is that Lecision?
No. You're gonna hate that you didn't guess it. Sorry.
Berard.
Brett Berard.
Brett
lighting
Berard's
it
the
up.
truth.
And then just behind him is Brennan Offman with 7 and 9. Nash with 6 and 9. Nice. Edstrom
Nice.
5 and 9. Brouillard 4 and 9. Harper 3 and 7.
Where's Sikora?
Adam Sikora has 2 assists in 9 games. Korzak has 2 points, a goal, and an assist in 7 games and 10 PIMs. Rempe has 1 goal in 9 games. Trevino 1 goal in 6 games. He's actually looks like he's been health bombed a few times.
Olaf Lindbaum, I'm glad he's looking great down there within his 1 game played.
Bro.
18 save percentage.
God almighty, dude. He's just Matthew Robertson at 1 point in 8 games too. I'm actually really satisfied with the Hartford Wolfpack with just the way that team was built. Like, there looks like they're 6-2-1 right now. Like, there actually looks like there was genuine care and ideas put into this team. So with 13 points in 9 games as a team, they're 1 point behind the Springfield Thunderbirds, and they're 3 points behind the Hershey Bears, with 3 games at hand on Springfield and 2 games in hand on Hershey. So the Hartford Wolfpack, I wish Hockey DB you could sort by point percentage. I wonder if AHL.com.
That'd be too easy.
It would make too much sense. Let me run to AHL.com real quick and see if I could pull up.
No, yeah, that was a big thing that I was talking about in the offseason. I love the depth that they added to the organization, like bringing in veterans like Riley Nash, like Alex Belzile, Connor Mackey, guys like that. It makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference. So the Hartford Wolfpack right now in the AHL are 4th in the league in point percentage.
Great goaltending down there too, by the way.
Excellent. But we haven't seen a good Hartford Wolfpack team. And well, here let's go look and see the last time we saw a good Wolfpack.
They were okay last year. They somehow got hot and went on like somewhat of a run.
I think before last year, the last time they made it was 2015.
That sounds about right. They've just been terrible, and it's not the Wolfpack's fault. It's the Rangers aren't doing shit to give them anyone. So, since coming back from the Connecticut Whale and becoming the Hartford Wolfpack again in 2013, 2014, they've made the playoffs twice. Last year and in 2014, 2015 when they lost in the conference finals, round 3. They did not make the playoffs. In 2019, 2020, there was no playoffs. It says did not participate in 2020, 2021. But yeah, only 2 playoff appearances in 10 seasons since coming back. And before that, when they were the Hartford Wolfpack, let's see if I could find them. Where the hell are they? Here we go. From 97 to 2010, they were in the playoffs every single year, except for the last year, 2009, 2010.
Didn't they win a Calder Cup too?
In 1990, 2000, the year Thick Nick was born, with Derek Armstrong leading the way. Ken Gernander was on the team. PJ Stock, Alexander Daig was on that team. Evgeny Nemesnikov, any relation to? Yeah, it looks just like fucking Vlad Nemesnikov, who blocked me on Twitter years ago. I don't know why. Stefan Chernesky, I think, was a first-round pick of the Rangers, if I recall correctly. He was 19th overall in 97. How do I remember that? I don't know. Pavel Brendel was on that team. What a weird ass team. Jan Hlavik. Anyways, Manny Malhotra. Dale Purentine. What the fuck?
He is Nemestikov's dad. I just checked.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. But yeah, the Hartford Wolfpack
are buzzing right now. It'd be cool if they could keep it up. Dylan Garan killing it. 914 save percentage right now. 13 goals against in 5 games. 3 wins on the year. He's looking good. 2.63 goals against average. He's looking good. And Hoffman has 7 points in 9 games. Like, I know people want him up instead of bringing back Kane, but just let him develop. Like, I can't express it enough. We've been down this road, and we always talk about every time, the Rangers rush these guys. Just let the guy let him over marinate. Yeah.
There's no issue. The Detroit Red Wings have been doing it for years, and it worked out very well for them and the players that they developed over the years.
Yeah, I'd say it worked out okay.
He's not a bad backup option if we get to the playoffs and we need another winger to bring up. It's not a bad option.
No, it's not at all. But all right, I gotta hop off here. Before I go, I want to thank everybody again for all the wishes and congratulations you guys all give me on Twitter. Love you guys. Evan, thanks for being there. Matt, wish you could have been there. But fucking love you too, bro. You were one of the first people to text me when it happened. So shout out to you, Matt. That's absolutely huge. Johnny Laz, dude, you're the fucking man. Like, you have no idea like how much that meant to me. And I don't even really give a shit about me. You made her moment mean everything in the world to her. She every single day she brings it up. about how thankful she is and how happy it made her. And we were watching the game the other night. She goes, "Look, we were there," and like it made her, it made her family, it made my family, it made all them so fucking happy. Like, dude, Johnny, I swear I cannot thank you enough, dude. I hope you see this because you made her moment just perfect, and I cannot thank you enough. Joey D, you're the fucking man, dude. I love you for helping set that up. And it like I want to stress this too, guys. Like, it does not take much to be a good person and do stuff in the world that you like changing lives. Like, Johnny didn't have to do that. He didn't even have to respond to Joey. And by doing what he did, changed the lives like of my family, my fiance's family, her life and my life.
Yeah.
All it took for him was 5 minutes of just like setting something up so we can do something. So do something nice by people. It literally does not take much. It does not take much. Don't beep your horn at that person if they're driving slow. Don't bump into someone because you think they're in your space when you're walking on the street. Just don't be an asshole. Be a nice person. It does not take much. Guys, love you all. I'll see you in the next one.
The slow driving thing, I don't know if I agree with, but yeah.
No.
That's the New York.
That's New York. Yeah. Congratulations again, Nick. Thank you for having me be
congratulations.
part of that.
Deuces, guys.
So yeah, but we'll keep going. We'll keep rambling. We'll keep talking because there's still so much to talk about when it comes to not just this team, but the NHL in general. But yeah, I appreciate all of you guys in here. And I appreciate, again, Johnny Lazarus. Huge shout out to him. Can't thank him enough because it was great being down there on the ice. It sucks because that's when I was starting to feel a little sick and starting to get symptoms. So it's like the moment didn't hit me as much as it would have if I was feeling okay. But it still was cool to be down there on the ice. And yeah, again, huge shout out to Johnny Lazarus. Go check him out. Go follow him, the Blue Crew Pod. If you think that our podcast is good, you'll love them because they're way more professional than us over there. They don't goof around about Winnipeg. They're very more. If you want more serious stuff, they definitely will deliver. If you want more of the jokes and sometimes the harsh takes, that's what we're here for. So, but yeah, a huge shout out to him yet again. But I do want to see some comments in the chat since I didn't even really get to read it, which I do apologize for that. We had Blake, Logan, appreciate all of you guys stopping in. Seabass, Dylan, Laugh for MVP, always in here. Nisa, Shay, we got a lot of people. Luke, always here. But yeah, a subject that we didn't really get to is the whole Patrick Kane debacle. We poked at it a bit, but we didn't really get in depth with the Patrick Kane debacle. So Frank Saravelli yesterday, that being Thursday, November 9th, he was talking on the Daily Face-Off YouTube channel, and he was I actually asked the question the chat, but it ended up being a segment regardless because they had a Patrick Kane update. And the update was, to summarize it, I'm not going to go paraphrase it, everything. I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm not going to go word for word with it. But he was saying basically, I'll pull up actually my tweet of how I summarized it because that was pretty much like the perfect summary, at least in my opinion, on the whole entire thing. But he was basically saying, if I could find mine, sorry, I was busy tweeting about how much I love Louis Domingue yesterday, and I couldn't help it. Louis Domingue, they got to build a statue for that guy. He was
Louis. Nah, if there's someone they got to build a statue, it's Benoit Allaire.
Benoit Allaire needs a statue, but
bro's a miracle worker.
He's Miracle Man, yeah. But I tweeted, to summarize, Saravelli basically said Kane should narrow his list down to 3 to 4 teams by next week. He mentioned mostly the Sabres and the Rangers as teams in the mix. He essentially said it depends what Kane wants. If he wants to try and win this season, he'll take a pay cut to go to a contender like the Rangers. But if he wants money and maybe some term, he'll go to a team like Buffalo. All depends on what he's feeling in his internal battle, but seems like we'll have an answer within 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So, yeah. Again, I don't really know. I don't know what's going to happen with the whole Kane situation, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I personally am still in belief that if he stays, or if he wants to be on a contender, he stays. If he wants the money, I think he goes to Buffalo. I think that's personally how I felt the whole way through. And Saravalli basically backed it up. He also mentioned today on the Daily Faceoff stream that it seems like he's going to be on the East Coast. So, like a team like Dallas, who's been in rumors, Colorado, every now and then has been in rumors. It seems like that could be out the window. The other teams that we heard from Elliot Friedman and Chris Johnston, we heard the Leafs, but how much of that is just Leafs for clicks? I don't know. We even heard Elliot Friedman didn't say there was interest, but he said he wonders about the Carolina Hurricanes. Please know with that. Who else was in the mix? There was
Detroit was in the mix.
Detroit, yeah, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't see him going under because just the Chicago connection. I don't think he would do that to the fans.
I don't think it's just that. I think that the whole reason that Detroit's even in the mix is because reunite him with DeBrincat, but it's like I don't know if they're even gonna play together. So I don't know about all of that, but I could be wrong. And then there was, I think, one other team that I'm forgetting. The Panthers, that's who. Yeah, the Panthers were another team. So we'll have to wait and see. But if it were my guess, I don't have info. I just want to make that clear. This is not inside information. I don't have anything. I got a bit of info like a month ago from someone. I won't say who. I won't say exactly what. But it sounded promising with the Rangers. But again, it was a month ago. Things could change within time. We see this happen. So I'm taking it with such a grain of salt regardless. But if I had to take a guess, it's going to be between the Rangers and the Sabres. I think it just makes way too much sense where Buffalo could fit him in cap-wise if his preference is salary. And if his preference is to contend, the Rangers are here. I don't think he's satisfied, like Frank Saravalli said yesterday too, with how things ended with the Rangers. And there's familiarity, there's comfortability there if he comes back to the Rangers. And, why not? With the way the team's playing right now, I'm sure he wants a spot saved. And all it would take, this is what Frank Saravalli made clear that I want to make clear as well, because people, I think, get this misconstrued. If Patrick Kane returns to the Rangers, it will not be for more than $1 million. It would be $1 million or less. So all it would take is waiving Wheeler or Pitlick to get it done, which once the team's healthy, Pitlick's going to be a scratch anyway. And then you'd imagine VC becomes a scratch if he ends up coming in. Patrick Kane, that is. So there is definitely, there's a possibility. There is a possibility.
No, yeah, that I definitely agree with you. I think it's down between two teams. It's the Rangers and the Sabres. If he wants another shot winning a cup, like I think he does, because he's already made $100 million in career earnings, and just why not just go back to the Rangers? It's a good team. You were here last year. Just go try to win it. And another thing, people shouldn't be scared of getting Kane because of what happened last year, because last year and this year it's two totally different scenarios. Last year, Patrick Kane came into the team was good, but they were relying too much on individual talent to win them games. There wasn't a system and there wasn't a structure, and Gerard Gallant did not have an idea or a plan on how to utilize Kane the correct way. He basically just told Kane, "Listen, go out with Panarin and try to make something happen." That's not how you coach, and that's why Gerard Gallant's out of a job right now. If he's coming back to the Rangers now, he's coming back into a much more structured Ranger team. Another thing, if Lavi really wants Kane, he obviously wants him for a reason. He obviously sees somewhere that he could fit and help improve the system. Drury's just not going to give Lavi Kane because he's Kane. Because one, you don't give a coach a player that he doesn't want, because that's not how you build a team, and you just don't get a player just because of the name Patrick Kane. That's also, you don't build a team like that. But obviously, if Labby wants him, he sees, okay, I could play Kane on this line, and this is how he's going to fit into this line, and that's how he's going to make it more offensively dynamic. Same thing with the power play. He's going to slot into power play too. He's going to make it more offensively dynamic. And it's like we said before, Kane's not coming here to be the main guy. He doesn't have to be the main cog in the machine to make it work. He just has to be a cog. Just make everything nice and make the machine run nice and smoothly.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's the thing that I think people also get. They misunderstand when we talk about Patrick Kane. I don't think any Ranger fan should have the expectation that he's going to come in and be the 90-point player that we've seen him be. as long as he's just, helping, providing scoring depth, that's all that this team, like this team could use scoring depth. We just talked about it before. And adding Patrick Kane certainly is an answer to helping your scoring depth. So I don't see the harm in it, especially if it's a very, very cheap deal like we're talking about where, 800K or to a million. What's the harm in that? It's not like it cap straps your team for the future or anything. And you could plug and play with your lineup either way. If things aren't working and you feel that you need more of a, defensive type forward in your lineup and, there's too much going on, then you take Blake Wheeler out of the lineup and you throw in Tyler Pitlick or you throw in Jimmy Vesey, whoever it might be that stays. So you can plug and play. It's not like they have to be attached to, there's not a marriage commitment with how it is. Like, as we saw with Gallant, they could change the lines like underwear, but you don't want it to be that way. But I think, like you mentioned too, that's a big factor. Laviolette having a system, people get that misconstrued too, is that nobody talks about how the team, like, nobody was striving under Gerard Gallant last year. Like, why are we singling out Patrick Kane when, I don't know, Lafreniere had no points in 7 playoff games? Panarin and Zibanejad had what, like 1 or 2 each? So there was a lot of guys that underachieved with Gerard Gallant here, and now we're seeing the team thrive. Who's to say that Patrick Kane comes in and he can't thrive here? And listen, if we're wrong, we're wrong. We'll be the first to admit that we're wrong and that, the hip surgery ended up hurting him after all, and that he's not the same player. But for right now, what are the options? Because you're not going to make a trade with a team in November. Teams are still trying to contend, and you need right wing depth. How often does a guy like this stay on the free agent market in November where it's a free agent? You don't have to give up assets. Like, I think that's the main key in all of this. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion, because I had someone tell me that they're annoyed because I think people are idiots if they don't want Kane. That is far from the truth. I think that, don't get me wrong, I think that it's a little, I think that it's a little bizarre if you think that Patrick, like, I think it's crazy if you think Patrick Kane would hurt this team and, he's worse than what the Rangers have. But if you don't want Patrick Kane on the team, I'm not going to rip you apart. It's your opinion. It is what it is. I can't sway it. It is what it is, and everyone's entitled to it. Believe me, I've been wrong about things before, and I'm the first to admit when I'm an idiot and wrong about something. But I just don't see, how you could look at this team and say Patrick Kane would hurt this team, considering the lack of scoring depth.
Yeah, there's right now between Wheeler and Kako, they have 4 points between them. Not great. And listen,
Not good.
Yeah, and not good. No, but listen, the system is going to help Kane. It's not a coincidence. Look how many players this year look so much more better than last year. Trocheck,
Yeah.
Keandre, Trouba, Panarin, Laffy. It's not a coincidence. Listen, actual coaching and system matters in the NHL.
Yeah, 1000%. And I'm just hoping that the Rangers could fit him in and that he comes back. Like, I'm definitely welcoming him back with open arms, and we will be there for when he's back with the Rangers. Like, I'm giving him a standing O and everything, because he could come in and he could make a difference. Like, that's the thing too. Like, we talk about how he just needs to be a guy, not the guy. But what if there's that possibility that he is the guy, and that the hip surgery, he defies the odds of all the players that have got it, and he ends up being the Patrick Kane of old? And, if you get that at $1 million, I mean, forget about it. Like, to me, this is a low risk, very high reward situation that I don't see how the Rangers could pass up outside of Patrick Kane's personal preference of whether it's a discount or money. And I feel like you said too, the coach has conversations with the GM. Like, there's clearly a connection with Laviolette and Chris Drury that we haven't seen between the GM and the coach in a very long time. And I think that goes a long way too in the roster construction, because I don't think Laviolette would be like, yeah, don't get me Patrick Kane. Chris Drury would still be in on Patrick Kane. I think that there's clearly communication there that, yeah, let's go get him. There's a spot for him. We'll fit him in to this spot. you don't just go out and get players to get players. You go in if there's a spot. It's just that simple, like you mentioned before.
No, yeah, definitely. And another thing, guys, it's a 1 year deal at 1 million. So even if he's not the same player and he's struggling, he's gone next year. Why wouldn't you just try it out just to see? Maybe he's the one that does unlock Mika and Kreider at 5v5. Who knows? But we got to see. And I'd rather see Patrick Kane up there than Blake Wheeler or Capo Caca right now.
I agree. And like that's the other thing that I want to mention. I don't call people idiots for it, but it's amazing how people call me idiots if I'm annoyed with Blake Wheeler's play when he's at a 1 year deal at 800K. But I know damn well these people are going to be ripping Patrick Kane if he's not performing at 1 year, 1 million well enough when, it's a very low deal. But we'll see what happens with Patrick Kane. I'm hoping that he comes back for obvious reasons. And for the reasons that we stated, I just think that it makes too much sense. We should have an answer very soon. And the Rangers, this 5-day break coming up, 6-day break, whatever it is, couldn't have came at a better time. The Rangers have a chance to get healthier. They could accrue some cap space too. Couldn't be any more perfect for Patrick Kane to come into the situation, get back into the mix with this team. And then the thing that sucks is they have 4 games in 1 week when he comes back. So he's like thrusted right into action. But,
Yeah, I think we'll see him make a decision where he's going to play right around Thanksgiving time.
Yeah, give me a date. Give me a date that you think. Like, we don't have info. I just want to make it clear again.
Yeah.
This is just a prediction. I'm making it clear for the viewers.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be on Thanksgiving. I'll say it's either going to be the 22nd or the 24th of November.
I think that's a fair guess. I'm gonna go maybe earlier. I'm feeling it's either gonna be earlier or later than we anticipate. Like I think that it's either gonna happen on the 19th or it's gonna happen the 26th.
Yeah, it's good.
The 26th, right before the Buffalo game, would be pretty fitting, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. No, it's gonna happen that Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there that it's gonna happen between I would say the 19th is the earliest and the latest is like December 1st.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair guess.
So we will be there for the first game back at the Garden for Patrick Kane.
I, for one, am hoping that's the 26th because I have tickets for the game for the 27th, and the tickets are like $200 for that game against Boston. So like, let's help me save money here too, and
Come on,
make
Dolan.
that. But y'all know they ain't happening. Like that's. Although, if anything, Dolan's probably like, you know what? You should sign on the 26th because then we could drive the prices up for that game against Buffalo, and then we'll get back-to-back $1 million, $1 billion sellouts here.
And we need that more than anything.
Oh yeah, we absolutely need that more than anything. The question is, does Kane fit the Rangers? Need more 5v5, but who does Kane push out? Is Wheeler as a 4th line right winger a good idea?
No.
The Rangers have a couple of options in terms of the lineup construction. Like I mentioned before, I think that, there's no harm if Will Coley's the guy on the 4th line. Like, don't get me wrong, I love his play, but, I think that he would fit well in the 4th line and he would still be able to produce and still be good enough on that line. Like, he's playing with guys that haven't been producing the best anyway. So maybe Will Coley could be on the 4th line. Blake Wheeler on the 4th line, it could work. I'm not saying it wouldn't, but it could work there. I don't know exactly where Patrick Kane would end up playing, but the Rangers aren't, like I said, they're not married to these lines. The only line I think they're married to right now is the second line. Yeah, so they could plug and play the way, and it's a good problem to have if you're plugging and playing. Like, that's a good problem. You have too much talent. Give me that type of situation.
Yeah, let's be Jack Harlow. Let's have options.
Being Jack Harlow is great. You have money. You get girls. You have options. Like, what's the harm in being Jack Harlow? I know some people might not like Jack Harlow, but regardless,
No, but
his music aside, but
I think another option for that first line. I mean, earlier we were talking about splitting up Mika and Kreider. And I know Nick talked about putting Cooley on the first line. Why not see what you have in Cooley, Mika, Kane? Why not? And then you could have a third line of Kreider, Heedle,
Wheeler
and Wheeler.
or Kako.
Or Kreider, Tro Kreider, Heel or Trocheck, depending on which one Lavi's gonna slot back into that third C, and then Kako. I think that's a great third line right there.
That could be an option. That could be a move. Like again, like we keep saying, they're Jack Harlow. They got options. So we'll see how they plug and play. But clearly, there's a plan if they're still interested in Patrick Kane. And then there was a report from SNY that it is narrowed down to 3 to 4 teams. I don't even know where they got that from.
They got
I
it. They got it from Scott Boras.
Yeah, Scott Boras with his freaking corny ass lines. I do want to pull that up though. Like, where did they get that info from? Because they said among 4 contenders, who they Chris Johnson, but Chris Johnson threw the Leafs in there, so that's a little confusing. I don't know. I don't know, but the whole situation, the whole debacle is confusing. But I don't know. I really don't know what his preference is going to be. If it were up to me, I'm not Patrick Kane. I know it's going to sound biased, but if it were up to me, I would take a 1-year deal to be with a contender. Go and win a cup, and the cap's jumping next year. Go take the multi-year deal, get the big deal on July 1st. Plus, he's eligible for bonuses next summer, so he could get maybe even more money. So I don't see the harm in him just taking a 1-year deal right now and then next offseason getting the bag.
Yes, especially if he comes in this year, the
And
Rangers,
proves that he's Patrick Kane.
and he puts up 40 to 50 points, and he's a valuable asset throughout the playoffs. Even leads the Rangers to a cup run. Oh, he'll definitely get a multi-year deal when the cap jumps next year.
Yeah, I just don't see the argument against it personally, but again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Everyone is, but uh trying to think like what I want to start adding more segments into the show. And I was thinking, do we want to quickly run down potentially, like it's hard to do right now, I know, because of the fact that it's very last minute. Do we want to do like a power rankings type thing? Give our top 5 teams in the league right now before we end it?
Yeah, why not?
Let's run it because I think I want to start adding things like that into our episodes. But let's quickly run it. Who would you put as your number 5 team in the NHL right now?
Number 5, I'll go with LA. I watched a couple of the games so far, and they look really good. They look like a lot of sorry. They look like a very structured team through the neutral zone. They score a lot of goals, play very well defense. Their goalie tandem in Phoenix Copley and Cam Talbot, I'm not that big of a fan of, but right now they're playing very well in front of them. So yeah, I gotta go LA.
Yeah, that's a fair pick. I would probably. I think I'd agree. I think I have to go LA too. They're like you said, they're playing very well in front of the in front of their goalie in front of their goalies. They're playing like Cam Talbot's putting up like very respectable numbers. Phoenix Copley, he's a different story here, but yeah, the Kings, given the goaltending they do have, the fact that they are winning games and this many, definitely something to keep an eye on. And I think that they could be a very, very big sleeper team in the West to take down Vegas potentially, especially if they do get some more help at the trade deadline.
And not to mention, they're doing this without Victor Arvidsson so far.
That's another thing too.
So
Yeah.
when he comes back, he's gonna add even more goals. There's one guy by the way, shout out to Anze Kopitar, goal number 400 in his career. But one guy I'm impressed with in LA, he's playing on their bottom pair right now, but he's a very good puck moving defenseman, Jordan Spence. He's looked very impressive
Jordan Spence
so far.
looks good.
He's looked really good so far this year.
Yeah, everyone was like, what's going to happen? They're going to lose Sean Dursey. Oh, no, this team's not going to be as good on defense. Why would they get rid of him? Yeah, because they have Spence to just slot right in. No big problem. No big deal. Like, it's amazing to me, too, how LA was able to just sacrifice so much depth to go out and get PLD, and they're fine. Like, not a big deal.
And right now, he's not even firing on all cylinders yet. and him and Kevin Fiala, him and Kevin Fiala together look really good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, who is your number 4 team?
Number 4, I'll go with the Canucks. Under Rick Tocchet, like I said with LA, very structured team, very good in the neutral zone. Like we saw in the Ranger game, caused them a lot of problems, both offensively in the neutral zone. Elias Pettersson on fire right now. Brock Besser scoring. JT Miller looks like he's back to his form of a couple years ago. Thatcher Demko putting up really good numbers, and Quinn Hughes is finally starting to look like an elite defenseman right now.
Yeah, I can't even disagree. It's got to be the Vancouver Canucks, right? Like they've been outside of their expected goals for being very low. I think it will even itself out, but even if it does even itself out, Vancouver's still going to be a very good offensive team. Thatcher Demko is starting to be the truth finally too, which is definitely a promising sign if you are a Vancouver fan. So I think there's a lot to like there in Vancouver. So yeah, I would agree with them being at number 4. Who is your number 3 team?
Us, the New York Rangers. Now look, great start to the season so far. 10-2-1. Lavi's doing miracles on us. Hopefully we had Kane, second line cooking right now. Mika, Kreider, I mean not Mika, sorry. Kreider, Trocheck, Laffy. But yeah, hopefully Mika and Kreider start to pick it up at 5v5. Our D's look solid so far. The structure's been great. Shout out to Keandre and Trouba, been excellent so far this season. And can't forget about the Gus Bus. It's rolling.
Yep.
And yeah, and credit to our goalies as well. Domingue, Quick, and Igor. When we've needed them, they've stepped up big and performed big.
I'm actually torn between 2 teams, and I know people are going to say that I'm being biased if I put, the one of the teams above the other here, but I'm going to say it just to spice it up. I'm going to go with Vegas as my number 3 team instead. I don't get me wrong, Vegas is playing very good, but a lot of it too is like their offense is just clicking on all cylinders. But if you go into the numbers right now, like they are not necessarily playing exactly are they're not playing the best defense if I'm not mistaken,
To
right?
to be fair though, Braden McNabb and Zach Whitecloud have been out since start of the season. They've been playing with a couple backups.
Well, yeah, that would make a lot of sense. But yeah, they still haven't been like as strong. Wow, oh my god. Yeah, they have not actually been that great defensively. If you go to their expected goals against, they're like they're in the bottom of the league pretty much. Like, wow, this is crazy to look at. So they're they're in the bottom 3 with Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay has Vasilevsky out. I know that you just mentioned Vegas's injuries, but still, like, shouldn't take that big of a hit. And then Toronto's down there, Columbus, San Jose, of course, Detroit, Chicago. They're surrendering a good amount of goals. I gotta go with I gotta go with Vegas at number 3. They haven't been playing as strong of a defensive game. Their offense is really carrying the load, and you got to question how sustainable is that for your offense to carry the load entirely. But yeah, I'd go with Vegas at 3. I also wanted to spice it up so we don't have the same exact rankings here. But number 2, I have the Rangers.
You want to go through your reasons?
If I mean, I don't know how much more I could add because we rambled for an
I
hour here about the Rangers. But in terms of it, then yeah, I mean they're playing good defense. They're playing respectable offense. You expect those numbers to get better as well. The power play you expect to die down a bit, which could end up lowering the Rangers. But as of right now, their goaltending is great. Their defense is great. And what more could he ask for? That is a recipe to win. And yeah, it's easier to get the offense going, in my opinion, than to get your defense sorted out. That's at least my opinion, as we've seen from previous years. So I got to go with the Rangers at 2.
Yeah, my number 2, I'm gonna go with the Bruins. And to be honest, I really haven't watched the Bruins a lot, maybe like 1 or 2 games, but it's just impressive how they lose Bergeron and Krejci, and they're still at the top of the league cooking. I mean, and granted, I get that at the start of the season they really didn't have the hardest schedule, and but listen, you gotta play what's in front of you, and you gotta
Yep.
win your games, and they've been playing some more harder opponents, and they're still winning. I mean, right now, David Pastrnak, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points, doing his thing. Marchand, 13 points. McAvoy's been suspended, but 8 points. And then another guy, what's his name? Matthew Portier. He came up out of nowhere, and he's been playing really well so far this season.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why, just to jump to number one, since I have Boston, and so we'll piggyback off of that. It's unbelievable the guys that are just plugging and playing for them, and this is why they're number one for me. They lose their captain, and they lose their second line center. Have not missed a beat. Have not missed a beat. Like, it's unbelievable. Remember when we all said, "Oh yeah, Linus Olmark, his numbers are gonna just fall back to earth, so that's gonna hurt them." Oh yeah, it's no big deal. Jeremy Swayman's just taking the cage like Nico predicted as his bold prediction. Jeremy Swayman's just carrying the load, and oh, by the way, Linus Olmark still has a 926 save percentage. Is that the team in front of him? Remains to be seen, but regardless, yeah, Linus Olmark still putting up very good numbers. They have an unbelievable blue line, and then like you mentioned, the guys coming up. I think if they add another like it guy up front, that team's going to just be an absolute wagon yet again. They're middle of the packing offensive numbers, but their defense is still very strong. Yeah, it's got to be Boston at number one for me. I know that Vegas could be up there, and maybe even the Rangers, you could argue, but I got to go with Boston with the way that they just have not missed a single beat. Even with Vegas, though, too, I could see the argument there that they go to the Cup, you might expect a hangover, and they haven't missed a beat. To me, though, I gotta go. I gotta go Boston. Like with the way that guys are just coming in and playing for them. Yeah,
No, and then another thing, like we mentioned, you lose Bergeron and Krejci, but then I even said before this season, I thought not they were screwed, but they would have been worse off because no offense to Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha, they're both great players, but I didn't think they would be number 1 and 2 centers on a cup winning team. But so far, Charlie Coyle, 12 points in 13 games, Pavel Zacha, 9 points in 13 games. They look like they're stepping up to the plate. And then you look at like a guy they picked up a free agency for cheap, JVR, who we thought, JVR
unreal.
10 points in 13 games.
Yeah, and
He's
Chuck Fletcher, according to his app, couldn't even fetch couldn't fetch even a seventh round pick for the guy. So
Chuck Fletcher.
yeah, it's it's unbelievable. And then they get what Morgan Geeky also in the offseason. I don't know how Morgan he's on injured reserve right now. I don't know
You're,
how. I mean, 3 points in 12 games. You're not expecting production, but still, I'm sure he's fine defensively. Lucic is on LTIR. Grizzlick's injured too, and they're still playing good defensively in front of Olmark and Swayman. Like, it's ridiculous with that team.
yeah, I mean like we saw early in the preseason, they were able to bring a Danton Heinen on a PTO, and they recently just extended him for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure. And I mean, he's not playing great
Ridiculous.
1 point in 5 games, but he's much better than that. I'm sure he's gonna pick it up.
Yeah, Boston. The more that we talk about, the more I'm not even mad about where I put Vegas because Boston's just a freaking wagon right now. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And I guess that brings it to number one. But my number one is Vegas. Yeah, just the the way I didn't think they would have been a Stanley Cup hangover, but I thought they wouldn't have been as dominant out of the gates as they were. But they came out flying, and right now their top players are playing like top players. I mean, Jack Eichel, 14 points in 14 games. William Karlsson, underrated 3C, 16 points in 14 games, 7 goals on the year. Mark Stone, their captain, 13 and 14. You know, I know the rest of the defensive core has been shaky, but when your top two guys are Shea Theodore and Alex Petrangelo, I mean you're set up really nicely for defensively. And then they got a couple solid guys in net, Logan Thompson, Aiden Hill. both reliable. And I know they're still dealing with a couple injuries right now. I know Stevenson's out right now, White Cloud's out, Haig was out, Alec Martinez was out to start the year. But even if you look at their depth, I mean, you got guys like Michael Amadio, Paul Cotter, Will Carrier, Keegan Colasar. That team is just so deep from top to bottom, and it wouldn't surprise me again if they're on the hunt to go back to back again this year.
Yeah, I completely agree. They're they're the team in the West still. Like I know that I went on reasons why I put them lower than the Rangers and the Bruins, but I would say that like yeah, they're still definitely the team in the West. They are Stanley Cup hangover who with them like we said. I cannot believe I feel stupid for even saying that that team was going to have a Stanley Cup hangover. Like I can't even believe that I thought that for a second. So shame on me, stupid of me. They're another team that just has not missed a beat. And I see in the chat an honorable mention. Colorado could definitely be an honorable mention. Their issue is that they have not had good enough goaltending because Alexander Georgiev is a guy that's a tandem goalie. He is not a starting goaltender. So that's the reason there, at least in my opinion.
No, yeah, definitely. I've watched Colorado a lot. Listen, they're a solid team from top to bottom, but I think they do have to fix their wing play on the left a little bit because right now they they thought Jonathan Drouin, they could have rekindled some magic from Halifax with him and McKinnon, but right now it's not working. I think he only has like one goal so far throughout this year, so they'll be definitely in the hunt for a left winger. And listen, you can never count out guys like McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar, Devontae is our guy. So they'll definitely be in the mix with a couple additions during the trade deadline. They'll be in the hunt for a cup again.
Yeah, 1000% they will be. Um, yeah, I'm even looking right now at Vegas is like in-depth analytics. Like they're kind of bad. They're kind of bad if believe it or not. Like they're fifth in goals against, expected goals against 20th, goals for their 11th, expected goals for 24th, goal share third, expected goal share 21st. Like they are. Don't get me wrong. Like I think they're still a very good team. Like don't get it twisted here, but definitely like compared to Boston's numbers, like Boston's definitely more on par with where they're at. But things will obviously change. Like I expect Carolina. We're not going to be shocked when Carolina's here in like a month of
No.
time. We're not going to be surprised uh when other teams start sneaking back in. Like Dallas is a team I expect to
Oh yeah,
heat up.
Dallas is deep.
Dallas is another underrated team that you could throw as an honorable mention.
I mean, you look at their top six: Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Matt Duchene, Jamie Benn,
Isn't
Tyler
Robertson like not even
Seguin.
playing his best hockey right now, and they're still like,
Nah, I mean, right now they are sixth in the NHL, 8-3-1, 17 points.
what's Jason Robertson's stat line?
Let me check.
Because I'm pretty sure like he only has like one or two goals on the year, which you don't expect from
Oh,
Jason Robertson.
and how could I forget Joe Pavelski, 12 points. Jace Robertson's got 10 points right now. He has 3 goals, 7 assists.
Yeah, like wait till he heats up and
Yeah,
starts scoring goals at will. It looks like, at least according to this, their issue is their power play. They're 29th on
yeah.
the power play.
Another guy who
Yikes.
I really like, who's their third C, Y Johnston. He looked really good
Oh,
last year in the
huge Wyatt
playoffs.
Johnson guy.
I mean, another guy I like on defense, Thomas Harley. I liked him in the playoffs last year, and of course you got my pick so far for the Norris, Miro the hero,
Yeah.
third. I mean, right now he's my third best defenseman in the NHL. Let's see how Jake Ottinger's doing.
Yeah, Miro's been very good. Ottinger, 933 save percentage.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like
210 goals against.
yeah, not bad for him at all. Even Niels Lundqvist has 4 assists on the year. Why not? But yeah, Dallas is definitely going to climb, especially if their power play starts to click. Like the fact that they have the record they do, Dallas is another team as an honorable mention, but things will shake up. And this was more on the spot, so it's harder to it's really harder to rank these teams, on the spot. Where if we had time to go in depth with these teams, we actually would have a better idea and like be able to break these teams down, break them down better. So next time we do a power rankings, we'll make sure to be more prepared so we could do an in-depth search. But I definitely want to start adding more to our shows here in
Devils are
terms of
down.
that.
Devils are down 2-0 by the way to the Caps.
Are they really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they're defensively they've just been awful this year. I mean, you look at their D pairing. You got Siegenthaler, Hamilton. Not a big Siegenthaler guy. I think Dougie Hamilton is excellent. Kevin Ball, John Marino. I really like that pairing. Ball, great defensively. John Marino, I think, is an underrated puck mover. And then you look at that third pairing, Brendan Smith and Luke Hughes. Brendan Smith's just he's awful. He's garbage. And then Luke Hughes, while he's great offensively, he's been very shaky so far to start his NHL career on defense.
I wonder who said New Jersey is not going to be great defensively. Like I wonder who that guy was, and I caught shit. I mean, that guy caught shit all offseason for saying that New Jersey's just not a good defensive team, and their goaltending was going to come back down to earth because Vanacek is not good at playing in goal. Like, who would have thought that?
And I
And
I
who would have
know.
thought that Akira Schmid is not the answer in goal, and the Rangers just made him look good. So you know
Yeah,
what? As much as we're mad about the Rangers getting bounced early, could have been a blessing in disguise because New Jersey would have
oh,
been more aggressive to get a goalie, and now they're stuck with Akira Schmid, who's just most certainly not been it.
but their power plays elite. I mean, you watch that first unit with Luke Hughes, Jack Hughes, Timo Meyer, Jesper Bratt, Tyler Toffoli. The puck movement on that first unit is incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Like that's the thing. Uh, the Devils are great offensively. They are. Like they'll be fine and they'll make the playoffs. But
Oh
when
yeah.
they get into the playoffs, their defense is not going to be good enough to win them around. It's
Yeah.
just that simple. And unless I'm wrong, and unless they improve their defense at the trade deadline, and even getting a goalie, I'm skeptical of because when's the last time we've seen a goalie get traded at the deadline and thrive? It's been quite a bit. So, yeah, if you're a Devils fan, you got to be, which, I'm not complaining that I'm not. But if you're a Devils fan, you got to be skeptical of the way that team's playing. And a lot of their offense, even then, is coming from the power play, too, which is very concerning.
But I do also think they'll get a little bit better because I think they'll add another sixth guy next to Hughes on that bottom pairing.
Oh, for sure.
Get rid of Brendan Smith because, like I said, garbage. Um, their their depth is really solid. I mean, you look at guys like Eric Holla, Michael McLeod, solid. But even their top guys, Timo Meyer really hasn't been great to start the season. Only 9 points in 12 games, three
Ugh.
goals.
Yikes. I
Andre
mean, he's
Palat.
picking it up from where he was. I remember he was at like no points for a while.
Yeah, I mean Andre Palat right now, 12 games in, 4 points, 4 assists only. He's not had the greatest start to the year. He's also -5. But yeah, and let's not forget also they are missing Nico Hischier right now, and
Yep.
and also to mention another guy that's struggling for them, Dawson Mercer has not looked good at all for
Oof.
them.
Oof.
12 games played on only one goal.
Oof.
He has not been good at all so far.
Yeah, that's problematic for them. So, oh wow. And you know what? Part of me doesn't like that as a Ranger fan because that means they're probably going to keep Toffoli instead of just giving Mercer some money,
Yeah, to fall. Yeah,
or they're going to be able to keep both now. But, uh, yeah, that's tough for them. I don't feel bad or have any remorse for that organization. Whatsoever.
yeah.
I could care less if they suffer, but I just if they continue to not play good and they get bounced early from the playoffs, I personally want some sort of an apology from the fans of the New Jersey Devils for calling me stupid and saying that I don't know hockey, for saying that their defense isn't great, and for saying that if the Rangers had a better coach behind the bench, that they would have won that round last year. But
Oh, bro, if they had Lavi last year with all that talent, with
they win.
Tarasenko, Kane, they end that series in 5 minimum.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. easily.
Because they were all over them, and even at the end of the game too. You remember when there was that big scrum at the end, and Jersey just lost their heads. Right then and there, I didn't think the series was over because with the Rangers, you never trust them that a series is over until it's over. But I was like, you're in their heads now. Just game 3, you win, and you have your foot on their neck, and they lose that, and then just fell apart all from there.
Yeah, exactly. Like they had them on the ropes. You guys know I was not a believer in the Devils. Pretty much all of last season, even when they won 14 in a row, I was never a believer. I felt, again, I feel the same way that I did then that I do now. That they're very talented offensively. Like they have a lot of guys that I wish the Rangers had. Like I wish they got to Foley at the price they did. I wish the Rangers had Jack Hughes on this team, Nico Hischier. They have very, very good guys up front, but Lindy Ruff is not a good coach. That's another big factor that we're not talking about. And on the back end and in goal, they are just not good. They're not good enough at all.
Yeah, no. But see if you don't shoot into Kirishmid's chest, maybe we actually score a couple more goals in that series.
Yeah, because the Akira Schmid, you give him one thing. He's got the quickest chest in the league. Like one of the quickest I've seen.
Bro, look how he played against Carolina. He got lit up against the Hurricanes in that second round series.
Yep.
And it's not like the Rangers didn't have the players, to snipe Akira Schmid. They did. They just were aiming at his fucking chest the whole time.
Yeah, 100%. Again, we'll see. They could add to the blue line. They could get help. It's early, but I'm not going to take too big of a victory lap. But I for one, am not a believer. I just am not. But I think we're going to wrap up the episode here. We've gone for way longer than I anticipated. But thank you guys so much if you did watch the entire thing. Thank you for anyone that did tune in. I do appreciate it. And I'm sorry that I've been cutting off mid-sentences a lot. I'm currently dying. Feel like I need the cough. So I'm going to wrap this up quickly. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next. And I'll see you guys in the next one.